Hi guys, I hope you're well. Let me know if you can see me and if you can hear me. Give me some emojis and stuff. So if you've joined me either on Facebook or on YouTube, you'll be wanting to make the free block of the month. I'm calling it free block of the month, but we have missed out 1 month because I was on my travels. It's called Bat Out of Hell, and you'll need to go to rjaf.makes.com to get the pattern, all in the description down below. Also, if you're watching on the live for the first 3 days, that's free. I can't say free. For the first 3 days, if you basically go to my website and spend £5 or more, you get 20% automatically taken off your order. And all that is pinned at the top of the group or in the comments. Right, so my eyes are going to keep reverting down here so I can read the comments. Please ask any questions as I go along. There's a bit I like to go through at the start, just regarding some things that have come out and pattern released on the actual website, and then I'll get into making this block. Right, okay, so I'm going to jump to the overhead camera. Hi everybody. I am seeing a lot of hellos. And I want to say thank you ever so much for everybody that's bought the pattern so far, or downloaded the free pattern so far. I'm overwhelmed again, so thank you ever so much. Right, let me just go to the overhead camera. Right, okay, so first of all, this live is all about the bat of the month. A bat of the month, I mean block of the month. It's called Bat Out of Hell. You can download this from rjaf.makes.com, so that's rjaf.makes.com. And it's FPP, so it's foundation paper piece. I'm going to talk you through the papers that I use personally, or whatever ones that you want to use. I've just got to take this off. I suffer from high blood pressure and water retention quite often, especially when it's hot. So it's getting to the point where it's that time of the day where I have to take it off. Right, okay, so this is a block designed by me. It's Halloween themed, obviously, because I love Halloween and I like spooky stuff. I don't like scary movies though. I don't like they psychologically, yeah. Anyway, so you'll notice when you open this up, it's a bit of a different layout compared to what it was previously. This is going to be the new style of patterns going forward on the quilts for definite, because prices of printing and when it comes to the paid patterns are getting more and more expensive to get printed, which means that I'm not making as much money on them that I should be, trying to keep the prices low. Right, so a bit about the free block of the month, a bit that it's saying that it's a basic, let me just refocus that. Is that focus? Yep. Okay, so it's a bit about why I'm doing this block a month over the next 6 months. I've also added the fabric, A and B actual colour swatches, and a little bit of what the pattern or the block will look like. Then you've got your cutting guide on several columns, so it's on this column and on this column. And let me just turn down the volume because it's making some noises. There you go. And then I've got some basic steps. Now, when it comes to the free patterns, they are not going to have many photographs in it or illustrations, because you're going to work alongside the videos. The cutting guide is simple, where it says A1, section A. So this is section A on the template. And then obviously you've got the A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6. Like I explained last time, on the free block that was the pencil case, the pencils one, which was the back to school one. Just follow the A1 cut times 1 of fabric A, so you'll need to choose your background fabric, and then you'll need to cut at size 2.5 inches square, and then just basically follow the instructions as you go along. Some of these sections I've joined up F and G because the F and G are similar in shape and stuff. I've just basically labelled it up F and G. Now, when I cut out and label up, because I'm not producing labels for these free patterns or the value patterns, I go ahead and buy these post-it notes. They're like quarter the size of a standard post-it note. And then I just write on what it is, what I've cut out, and then just pin it to it. I've always got a pack of these in my drawer because there is some patterns out there that don't actually give labels, so I've always got those. And also I always make some notes on there. So for instance, if a block says, oh, this one colour needs to go on the left and this other colour needs to go on the right, I'll make a note on there so I don't have to keep reverting back to the cutting out section or the notes section. Then you've got the templates. Now, please print off this page first to make sure that measures 1 inch. So print at actual size or 100%. Now, for those who are using American paper, click on the letter paper and then basically print out this page. You might need to increase or decrease the percentage to get that as 1 inch. If you don't print this at 1 inch, this block will either become smaller or larger. Now, if you want it larger, go ahead, print it larger. There is 3 pages of templates to print out. So let me just move on to the other bit, is this one. So this is a value block that I'm doing every so often because I know times are hard and money isn't there at the moment for people, but they want to carry on and they need new patterns. So every so often I'll be releasing a block which you can produce. It's going to be a nice size where you can either put it into a tote bag, or you can do what I'm going to be doing, is saving up my blocks, and then at the end of the 12 months say I'll put them all together and make a sampler quilt. This is £1 for the next 24 hours. So you need to go over to the website, click on Boo the Friendly Ghost value block range, and basically you'll see all the value block ranges appear over the next 12 months. Now it's £1 for the next 24 hours, and then it goes up to £2. £2 is going to always stay at £2 after that. So every new one that I release is going to be £1 for the first 24 hours. Grab it while you can. These patterns will have videos which will be automatically uploaded to YouTube. So this one is already on YouTube as it is. It's the channel RjAf.MAKES. It's the same layout as what I've just showed you on the bat one. So, but if there is more fabrics involved, I will add the swatches. There is the finish, what it will look like. But what I am tending to do is make the illustrated front so you can see all where the lines need to match up of all the sections that we're going to be doing. The same with the boo as well. So you've got your cutting out, and it's continued onto this section here. All this cutting out will do these 3 units. Well, it's technically 4 units because you will be producing 2 of those. And then you've got your basic steps to go alongside the video. And then you've got how to implement the block together. So it's pretty simple. The arrows are not how you press the seams. It's totally up to you. I'm going to leave that up to you, how you press the seams. I know some pattern designers, quilt designers actually do the arrows go in one way to show you which way to press the actual seams. Then you've got your template pages. The template pages are similar to the one that I've just showed you, the Bat Out of Hell. However, this page here, it's got ×2. I wasn't going to waste another piece of paper of someone. if you were printing this out just once and then tracing these out, I wasn't going to print two O's somewhere. So I've just put ×2. Just make sure you print this page twice. So that's the one with the actual 1 inch square. Now, like I said last time, it's either 100% or actual size. You might need to adjust it for letter paper, but this is for the UK A4 size. And it's already into its sections. I've also kept the colours so you can identify which is the background, which is part of the ghost or its face features. So, and then the last thing is with this one, I don't know if you've noticed this part here. It's actually the same size as all your free blocks that you're going to be getting. So it's actually the same size as what the free block is. So if you don't like the ghost but you want to put the bat in, you can. It's an interactive block, and that's what the value range is going to be like. It's going to have a saying and then an interactive block which you can basically use as much as you want for either the free pencil case pouch, which I'll show you in a minute, or the you can do it as your value block. So just a little reminder, this was originally designed for this free pouch sew along. Now this free pouch sew along is a case that was actually filmed partly in the last sew along that we did. We did the block of the month, which was the back to school one, which you can find that in the free digital downloads on the website. And then because you're in the Facebook group, if you go to the file section, you can actually find this pencil case kind of. I'm not using mine as a pencil case. I'll show you what it is. But you can use download this pattern, and it's basically the cutting out instructions and just basic instructions. You need to follow the very first video. Now this video is still in the Facebook group, but it's also now on YouTube, and that's for both of these. It's under the same video. And these blocks, even the ghost, even if you just do the ghost part, will fit into this actual pencil case. Now this was the one that I made. Sorry, I keep my EPP. So I'm working on a really large quilt at the moment. So if I flip this over, I've got my EPP in each section. So I've got one rosette in this one rosette in that one. So as you can see, it's just the quilt block from last time, the binding, and then you got TPU, or yeah, I bought this from the Little Stitcher Sews in the UK, and then basically you got those. So let me just put those away, and let's get on to making today's block. Okay, so where's today's block? This one. Okay, so things that you're going to need to help you out are some tools, and they're not all compulsory. You can live without them. And I'm just going to talk you through the paper that I use. Right, so I've got two rotary cutters, one for my fabric when I trim back my fabric, and one for the paper when I'm trimming back the block or the paper when I'm cutting it down into their sections. You're going to need some pins. I like to use glass head pins just in case I'm using an iron, but today I'm not using an iron. Even though it has cooled down, it's still too hot. So instead of my iron, I'm using a Clover rotary presser. So it's a seam presser. It's got a little bevel in the middle, so it runs down the seam nice and easy and keeps it nice and flat. I've got a sew line glue, fabric glue stick pen, a bit grubby at the end. That's where I put the lid, but it's washable glue. I'll use either a postal card, postcard as they call them, postcard, or a box, a cereal box, or I use one of these to fold my actual paper, my FPP paper. It's just a normal school ruler. It's got a bevel. Now, some of the new add a 1/4 inch rules have actually got that beveled edge. so it goes nice and flat. However, my add a 1/4 inch rule hasn't got a beveled edge. So this is the 1/4 inch side, which I will be using to make sure I got 1/4 inch seams. As you can see, it's got a lip here on this side here. It's not the best of colours. I know there's pink ones you can get as well. And then on this side, it's beveled, but mine isn't. Mine's quite thick and 3mm thick, so I can't really use this to fold back the fabric. Talked you through these, and then if you have not got an add a 1/4 inch rule, you can sub it for just a standard quarters rule. I will demonstrate once with this, but I will move over to this because I'm quicker with this than this one. And then I've got the paper. Now the paper I use is the UK FPP paper, which is by Pattern Trace. It's A4 size. It's what they class as tea bag paper. So it's nice and thin. It's see-through. You can actually see things through it, as you can see the back coming through. So it just means that you don't need to hold it up to the light or have it over a light box, only because I have quite a lot of studio lights and I can't see through the light box as it is when the studio lights are on. You can get the American letter paper one. It's by Carol. I don't know, but I personally prefer to use this one. Comes in a pack of 100 as well. I do sell this, and like I said, £5 and over for the next 3 days, you get 20% off. Right, okay, so let's get on. Right, so I have already started the block. I'm only going to be showing you a couple of sections today, and then I'm going to show you how to put the block together. Now, the pattern has got grey here, but I've used a yellow background here. I'm actually using a white background today. This is totally up to you. Now, what you can do is, and I know a lot of people have done this in the past on other patterns, is cut a piece of the fabric, just like a little square, and stick it on to where whatever colour you are using it for. So, for instance, if you're doing a pink bat, you can actually stick it on the black square here, just to remind you your pink is your fabric B choice. I'm not going to go through the cutting guides of everything because I've already cut everything out. Okay, so each section is labelled up. So it's got section A, and I'm working on section F, and there's a reason why I've chosen one of these sections here because it's at a weird angle and I've got to show you how to work around your fabric. So I'm going to work on the section A bit first. So let me find the section A pieces. Okay, is there any questions? Yes, Lynn, it's great paper. I must admit it's I never used to use FPP paper until this year. Thanks ever so much if you downloaded the pattern. Right, okay, so I've got my A pieces. I'm going to first fold on all the solid lines. So all these solid lines inside this outer solid line, I'm just going to fold this paper, just so it's got a head start. And I'm just putting my child's school ruler right on that solid line. And then just placing it with my finger up against it. Okay, so my section A1 is this top piece here. Now, with your labels, you will know I've tended not to mix up the colours. So, for instance, you won't get a black and a white, a fabric A or fabric B under the same code. So it just means that you don't get mixed up. Get some organized. Okay, so if you've got patterned fabric, so I don't know if you can actually see, I've got like paisley kind of print on mine. I know that's my right side. So I'm going to flip it over so my wrong side is facing up on my actual work surface. I'm going to flip this over. So we're always going to be sewing on the printed side, and on the other side is where the fabric will be. So where there's no printing, this is where the fabric will go. So I'm going to, in my A1 section, that's this top section, just going to run a bit of glue in that section, flip that over and stick that down. And as you can see the fabric all the way around. Now you need the fabric to be overhanging at least 1/4 of an inch all the way around. I've given you more than 1/4 of an inch on a lot of the actual templates. So we are going to fold it on the next line. So we've just stuck A1. So ignore the letter now. We are moving on to the numbers. So we are moving on to the section 2. So section 2 is this section here. So I'm going to get my child's rule, fold it over, pull that away, and give it a good finger press. I'm going to just show you this once with a quarters rule. So where your 1/4 of an inch mark is on your quarters rule, you're going to put this on top of where that fold is on that paper. And then we are just going to trim it away. So I'm going to use my fabric rotary cutters. Okay, so now I've got a 1/4 of an inch overhang of that fabric. So I've now want section 2 piece of fabric. So 2A and A2 and A3 are the same colour, so I'm just going to add a pin back to that. Okay, I'm going to pop that right side facing up towards me. Pick both my fabric and, so my fabric's still attached, and keeping this folded and the paper template. I'm going to just pop this so it's right side to right side. Oh, you're welcome, Amanda. Thank you ever so much. Right, okay, so you can see where the 2 solid lines are. Let me just zoom in for you. I went wrong way. I always do that. Ignore the nails. You can see where the 2 solid lines are. If I just peel this back and the first piece of fabric and pop my finger there, you need at least 1/4 of an inch overhang on each side. So I've got 1/4 of an inch. I'll flip that round. I'm going to get my finger underneath, flip it over, and add a pin so it holds the paper and the 2 pieces of fabric together. Okay, so on my sewing machine, I've got an open toe foot, standard sewing machine foot. You can use, as long as you can see where you're sewing, that's fine. I've got overfull thread. I've got this colour one. So some people go by colour, I go by weight. So this is the I always get the weight wrong. The 50 weight. And I've got a size 90-14 needle in my sewing machine. So I'm now going to sew from here to here. So that's from here to here. I'm not going to sew past those 2 lines there, and I'm not going to reverse my stitches. I've got my stitch length. I'm going to be setting my stitch length at a 1.1, but it varies on the sewing machine, so it can be a 1.1 to 1.3. So let me just go to the sewing machine. Okay, so change my stitch length. And I'm not going to let my sewing machine automatically puts the needle down. So I've turned all that off so I can actually put my needle down precisely where those solid lines are. And then I'm just going to sew just between those 2 lines. Okay, so I've just sewn from there to there. Now I would normally say starch your fabric before you cut. No, I should have said this earlier on actually. So I starched my fabric with Dylon spray or best press, depending on what you've got in at the time. It's just to stop any actual stretching of the fabric. Also turn the steam off on your iron as well, so you've got no steam on your iron if you're going to be using the iron. However, because I've starched my fabric, I'm actually going to use my rotary seam presser. So I've just opened that up and I'm just going to press it. Run this along there. And then I'm going to flip this back and then move on to section 3. So I'm moving on to this section here. So I'm just going to fold it right on that line. And this time I'm going to use the add a 1/4 inch rule. So that lip that I've got here, I'm going to put that right next to the actual fold, and as you can see, it won't go anywhere. And I've got a 1/4 inch overhang, and I'm just going to trim that off. Okay, then I'm going to get my A3 piece, which is that last piece. Pop that right side facing up on my work surface. Pop this right side facing down, making sure I've got handful of overhang on those 2 lines. Put my finger underneath, flip it over, and add a pin so it holds. I'm just going to bring up a question. Please may you answer it. And the reason for it is so I can get an idea of if you're liking it. So that should pop up soon, hopefully. There you go. As soon as you answer it, it disappears off your screen. Okay. If it has. Might not have. Oh. There you go. It's popped up now. Right, okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is go from there to there and sew across that line there. I'm not going to go past those 2 lines there. Okay, so I'm just leaving that up for a little while for you guys. Okay, so camera 2. Okay, let me just deactivate that now. Remove. Okay, so that should have removed in the next few seconds. Right, so I'll flip this right side facing up. I'm going to get the rotary cutter, open that up. I'm not pulling it, and then I'm just going to press that. Okay. Right, okay, just making sure it's definitely gone. Okay, so I'm now going to flip this back over and move to section 4. Now section 4 is here of this part. So I'm going to fold it right along there on that solid line. And then I'm going to use the bevel and I'm just going to trim away that excess fabric. Okay, so we've now working on section A4. So I've got my section A4 piece of fabric, right side facing up, and then grab hold of those because they're going to keep flapping around. So grab hold of them. Let me just zoom out a little bit. There you go. Grab hold of them and pop those right side facing down this fabric that's attached to the paper. Your line is there, just peel it up just to make sure you've got at least 1/4 of an inch overhang on those. Get your finger underneath and then just pop a pin underneath. Okay, I'm just going to sew along this edge here, this little line here. Well, I say little, it's bigger than the last two. So from there to there, I'm not going to sew over those lines. Okay. Did everybody have a good summer holidays? Or is people still on their holiday? We had a few rainy days and a few, well, really summery days. And then one of the days we decided to climb this hill, and a bit gruesome stuff now coming out here in this conversation. I was sweating buckets at the end of it. I could have died. Right, okay, I definitely needed the shower when I got back. Right, okay, so I've just sewed from there to there along that line. I'm going to flip this over, flip this, and then I'm just going to press it. Or have you got a holiday booked because you haven't been on your holiday yet because it's so expensive to go in the summer holidays? Okay, so as you can see, my A4 really overlaps the seam allowance. So this dotted line is the seam allowance. So that's great, that is, because then we can just trim it back and get a neat finish. Okay, so we've just done A4, we're going on to A5, which is this section here. So we're just going to fold it along that line. Give it a good fold. And then we're just going to trim off that excess, but leaving 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Someone asked me in the group, actually no, the private message me, why do I give out cutting? They've done FPP before, I'm just going to put that out there. And they said, why do you actually give out cutting dimensions? And I actually thought about it, and I actually tested this block with the same my fabric that I did with the cutting dimensions. And I found I wasted more if I didn't do the cutting out. So that's the reason why I do the cutting out dimensions, is so you don't have any wastage. You will actually have a bit left over on all the fabric requirements. Okay, so printed side, right side facing up. And we're going to pop this right side facing down. Got a large overhang here, so I'm not even going to flip that back. I'm going to flip that open and pop a pin in there when it wants to go in. My phone's going mental here. Thank you ever so much, guys, for buying the value block and the digital download and the free block. Okay, so from here to here, we're going to sew along this solid line, and then we're going to press it open. We had a lovely few days with the two grandkids, cousins. Glorious weather at the West Bay in Dorset. I love Dorset. Dorset's beautiful and has some of the best cottage cream and stuff. So yeah, me talking about food. Right, okay. So I've just sewn from there to there. I'm going to flip it open and flip that. Now you probably heard me say this last time. If there's a large piece of fabric and it's a large area and it's at the edge of the actual where the seam allowance is, I will get my glue. Just pop a bit of glue in that area just to stop this from getting stuck and folded underneath. So basically I have to unpick it, and I don't want to unpick it basically. So we're going to the next section, the A6, which is the last section of the section A. I'm going to hope, and then we're going to trim off that excess. Okay, and then we're going to get the last section, right side facing up. Okay, right side facing down of this fabric that's attached to your paper. Pop that down, match up those edges, flip that open and add a pin. And as usual, just sew from there to there, don't go past those lines. Take that pin out, flip this over, and then we're just going to press that open. And obviously you can see this is the top of the bat. And once again, I'm just going to add a bit of glue into that section there and stick that down. Okay, so we've now gone ahead and done that. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit more so you can see the next part. So we now need to trim it back to this dotted line on all the way around. Not the solid line, it's the dotted line. So you can either do that with your rotary quarters rule, line up the quarters rule on that dotted line. And this is where I use my second rotary cutter because I'm going through paper as well. And I'll just trim that off. Get rid of that paper. And now that's quite a handy size, so you might do another FPP down the road, a scrappy version. Keep the larger pieces and it will come in handy. Then move on to the next dotted line. And you'll see I'm not cutting through that other large piece there because that will stay large. If I was to cut it across, I would lose a bit. So sorry, we have got the windows open, so if you can hear the traffic, I do apologise. Then I'm just going to clean that bit off. Okay. Then I'm going to go to do this top part here. Thank you, Valerie Kurt, for your order. It's just come through. I don't know what you've ordered. Okay, just gone a bit off on that bit, so I'm just going to trim it back. Right, okay, so on this one here, you'll see where there's a point, the actual dotted lines go off at weird angles. You will get that on all points, just so it basically, when we join all the sections together, it means that it's not going to be as bulky in those areas. So I'm just going to trim those right on those lines. Put that over and do this one. Okay, so that section's done. I'm going to add it to the other sections that I've completed. And I'm just going to show you this section. Now there is quite a few sections that are kind of got the same angles. So this is why I've just kept the one back so you can see what I need to do, what you need to do. Okay, so I'm going to work on the F1 piece first. Okay, I'm going to fold it on that line, like so. Flip it over and just add the glue in that section there. Make sure when you stick this down, it's wrong side to wrong side, so that's the wrong side of the paper to the wrong side of the fabric. Ah, you've ordered the foundation paper. Yeah, it's great foundation paper. It does come all kind of stuck together, obviously when they've cut it on the machine, if you just basically peel off the amount of paper that you need and then just put it into the printer. Okay, so I'm going to fold it on that solid line there to move on to section 2. Patch 2. Oh, that's not straight, Rebecca. The Rebecca name comes out when I turn myself off. Okay. Then I'm going to trim this back. Okay, so I've got my F2. Now ideally you would want to press that if you've got any kinks. Just going to try and get that out. Better than what it was. So you need it right side facing up. Now, the thing is, if I was to just put that like that and up, I won't have enough when I flip this over. So I'm going to pinch it. So I've got the seam allowance. As you can see, there is seam allowance showing there. So you're not going to get correct. That's not correct. So keep bear in mind you're going to keep doing this. So I've got a little bit of an overhang here. I'm going to flip that over, flip this top bit back, and I find that. So there is another way you can do this, by the way. Fold this, open this up, so you've got it like so. Then you're going to pop this fabric right side facing up, and you're just going to fold it where it should be. Crease it. So you've got a nice crease there. I'm going to fold this back up, and you see this seam that needs to go over the top of that fold. So, like so. So, open that up, pop a clip in, leave that bit overhanging at the moment, just in case you have to unpick it, and then you're just going to sew from there to there. Okay, so I've sewed from, oh, wrong camera. So I've sewed from there to there. Just going to flip this over and press that to make sure it fits. Now just double check to make sure you've got overhang on all the seam lines, which I have, and then you're just going to press that. But remember, we've still got that extra bit underneath that we need to cut away. So we're going to fold that back, fold that open, fold it, and trim back that excess. And then just reopen all that back up. Might need another press. If not, don't worry. And then because mine should have had a really good press, but there's happens to be a fold, I'm just going to add a little bit of glue in that section there. And stick that down. I'm going to flip this over and then trim away the excess seam allowance to the seam allowance. Oh, wrong ruler. You can use that roll if you want to. Totally up to you. Okay. If you've got children, have they all gone back to school? Ours went back on Tuesday. Ethan, the oldest, he lives with us, and then the youngest lives with his mum still, and he went back on Wednesday. Ethan started his first year of A-levels, and I've never seen a child want to leave school so early in the morning because they're so excited, which is good. I can honestly say I was rolling out of my bed about 20 minutes before school started when I was his age. Right, okay, so I've done the F section. So now I've got all the sections complete. I'm going to show you what you need to do next. Let me just move all this out of the way. So grab your actual pattern, because on the front, as you can see from your pattern, it's got all the lines of where the blocks pieces should go. So you've got your A section there. There is an actual guide here of where your sections should go, but you don't really need that guide if you've got it on the camera here. Okay, so you'll need the two smaller sections, which are B and C, and there goes B is on that side and C on that side. Always just think they go in the bottom hand corner. Then you'll need these sections. Not that one. So you'll need E and D. So D goes on that side and E goes on that side. Okay. Then you'll need your F and your G. G goes on this side and F goes on this side. Okay, as you can see, they're getting like a triangle. Then you'll need your H and I sections. So your H section is your largest section. If you actually look, the tips finish a bit, let's put it the correct way. So the tips finish further out on the H section. So the H section goes there. Then you've got your I section. Then you've got these sections, which are K and M. So your M will go this side and your K will go this side. And then you've got these sections. Now let me just quickly run through these two sections in your templates. Okay, so on your templates here, your L and J sections, I've actually put on just on these two which fabric goes in which. So I've put fabric B in the L2 and L1 is fabric A. And there's a reason for that is L1 and J1 are the same cut width fabric. However, people would get mixed up on the actual the code that is next to it and the fabric type. And then I've done A fabrics in the J2 and L1. So just be careful, have a look at the pattern when you're cutting out on those. And then you just add those two at the bottom there. Right, so the first thing we're going to do is pair these two parts up first. So I'm going to pop those right sides together. And you're going to have basically that little cutout is joining up there. I'm going to pop a pin right into that solid corner. And that should, fingers crossed, come out on that solid corner, which mine hasn't. So if I just rearrange it, there you go, it's closed. Then I'm just going to add that pin in. I'm going to do it for the same on this one here as well. That's better than that one. Okay. And then I'm just going to do the same, repeat the same on this side here. How many are you going to make the pencil case? Or I know Ethan wants his colours pencils because he does a lot of artwork to go in a bat pencil case. Or are you going to make it into a Halloween trick or treat bag? Or are you going to just keep it as a quilt block and make a sampler quilt at the end of it? I'd like to know. Okay, and then just add a pin through that section there. Okay, so I've got those two there. The next thing I'm going to do is just move on to these sections here because I'm just going to speed up the process a little bit. So I'm going to pop those right sides together. and add a pin through that corner so it comes out on that side. Same again on this side here. Nope. Nope. It's always one. That's all right, Caroline. You can watch them back whenever you want. So Caroline says, "Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry I'm late. First time I've watched a live. Is this first time watching an actual proper live, or is this first time watching me live?" Okay, and then I'm just going to get a clip. Let me just grab my clips. I'll just add a few clips down here. Okay, and then I'm just going to add these two together. And the reason why I'm doing all these batch parts first is because then I don't have to keep going backs and forwards. Oh, first time live. Welcome, Caroline. Okay, so on my sewing machine, the ones that I've paired up, I'm going to sew right along that solid line, along this complete big solid line here, and then just down this solid line here. I'm going to keep my same stitch length as what I was using before, and that's the 1.1. And I'm just going to do it chain pieced. Well, I'm not going to chain piece it. I'm going to break my stitch every time, thread every time. But I'm just not leaving my sewing machine. So that's the first one done. Okay, second one. It's getting really hot in here now under these studio lights. Second one. Move on to that long one. As you can see, once you've done all the sections, put all the patches on, it will come together quite quickly, especially if you're making more than one or two. You can do them in batches and separate everything into batches like I just have to speed it up a little bit. So onto the last section that I've just batched up. And as you can see, once I've sewed them, I've put them back where they came from. So I'm going to now work on this part here. So I'm just going to open it up, press the seam up towards that B section and give it a good press. Now if you've got an iron, you would press it on the iron. Just press it with the roller if you need to. And then as I did like the back to school one, I personally need to remove all this out of the seam, the actual paper out the seam. I do this on the Boo the Friendly Ghost as well. Reason being is it just cuts away the bulk, especially when we've got to sew some more sections together once these. Okay, and then I'm just gonna press that. Okay, and then repeat the same for this one. Let's take the paper out first. As you can see, it comes out quite nice because we've used quite a strong needle, so that's the 9014 needle, and I've kept my stitch length to a 1.1. and with FPP paper it comes away really easy. And then we're just going to press that. Okay. Then we're going to do this one. So get those papers out those seams. Okay. Remember the H sits at the top, so I'm just going to press the seam up towards the H section. Okay. And then this one, we're going to peel the actual paper out the seams, but this time, because I'll explain why, we're going to press the seam open. Right, so the two bat tails, as I'm going to call it the bat tails, are joining at the same part, at the same point of this seam. And if I open that up, there. So if I was to press it one way, it would be quite bulky in that area. And then when we come to send it off to a quilter, if you're making this into a large quilt or something, this won't go under, it will have some jump stitches when you come to quilting it if you're going to put it into a quilt. So it's best if you actually open up this seam. So first of all, I'm going to press it to one side. Then I'm going to flip it over and open up that seam and run my seam roller through it. So the seam is opened up. Just means that there's hardly any bulk in where the bat tail joins together. And it just means when you come to quilt it, or if you send it off to a long armour, they're not going to struggle or miss some stitches. So I'm going to now do some more batches. I'm going to pop those two together and this one together. So put that there. Pop a pin through that. Nope. Nope. Yep. Okay, and then just do this one. Paper's moving on this one. Okay. I'm just going to pop this one right sides together, matching up the edges, so I'm matching up that side and that side. Has anybody actually made the pencil case itself? I know there's been one or two in the group with the pencils on. Okay. And then just repeat that same process with this one here. Thank you to all the people that are downloading the pattern. My phone is actually going quite wild at the moment, so thank you. Okay. Right, okay, so like last time, I'm just going to sew from there to there on this one, and then from there to there along that one, and from there to there on that one. Okay, and then the last section that I've paired together. Okay, so we're just going to open this one towards the K section, and we're going to press this open because we've got a bit of a join here and it's got quite bulky. So we're going to take that paper out of the seam and then press it open. I haven't made the pencil case yet, but it's on my to-do list. Yay! Are you actually making it into the pencil case, or are you actually making it into a quilt block, or saving all the blocks together to make a sampler quilt? Okay, so I've just ripped out the paper. I'm just going to open this seam up and give that a good press. You will find this bottom row is all pressed open seams, but the other rows are just pressed to one side. Okay, so you got that bit there. While I'm here, I'm just going to marry this up with this one. All of the above, knowing me. Yeah, Sharon, actually, I wouldn't put it. You sew quite a lot, don't you? So, and there. Okay, with this one, I'm just going to take the papers out. Okay, and then I'm just going to press that towards the D section. Oh, thank you, Sally Ann. I love your latest quilt that you've just done. I must admit, I'm just a fan of those patterns anyway myself. I'm halfway through the lion at the moment myself, and I've asked for one of the kits for a Christmas present off my husband, but then I think the customs are going to be just phenomenally priced. Right, okay, so I'm just going to press this seam towards the E section. How long did it take you, Sally Ann? Your latest quilt, that is. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the sewing machine and sew from there to there along that line there, using the same stitch length, which is 1.1. I'll just take that out. Sharon, me too. Sharon's just said, I love the idea of a Halloween quilt. Me too. So I'm gonna cut off confession to make. These blocks were for me when I designed them. No, basically, over the last 4 or 5 years, I've been collecting Halloween patterns that I've liked the look of, but I know I haven't got it in me to actually complete the full quilt. So I've basically been collecting blocks from all the patterns that I've got and making the blocks that I like from that particular pattern. So might only be one block from that pattern. And I've been doing that for about 5-ish years, 5 or 6 years. And I've just downloaded the free Tula Pink one, which is from the Nightshade range. And I'm going to make some of the test tubes and the bubbles. And then I think I might join all the blocks together once I've made a few extra of these bats. Right, okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is join this to this section here. So right sides together. And pop a pin going through. Yep. And then do this one as well. I'm just going to add some clicks going down this, just making sure the edges match up. Click down the Oh, thanks, Nikki. Okay, so I'm just going to pop this to one side, and then we're going to get this one here, and we're going to match it up to this edge here. So I'm just going to twist this round because I find it easier. So what we're going to do is, there's a little bit of a cutout here, and let me just zoom in for you guys. Okay, so there is a little bit of a cutout here. So where this straight edge here on this part, you're going to match it up, and then this should match up on that edge there and along that edge there. So let me just pop a pin in that bit there. That should come out on that little corner there, which it does there. And pop a pin through there. Okay, and then we're going to nope. Yep. I'm a bit precise. I don't know if you've noticed. I won't go ahead and sew it until I know those pins match those corners on each side. Right, so I'm just going to sew from there to there, and then on this one I'm going to sew from there to there along that edge. Let me just zoom out before I go any further and go to the other camera. Just got curling up of a seam here. I'm just going to flip that down. There we go. Okay, and then I'm just going to do this one. Thank you, whoever just ordered from the website. Thank you so much. Sorry, my phone did buzz, but I didn't see the name. It flashed up so fast. Okay, so with this one, we're going to rip the paper out the seam on both sides. And you've got little pieces here, please rip them out because you don't want them, especially if you used a white background like I have, you don't want them floating around between your batting, your wadding or batting, depending on what country you're from. And you can see them. Okay, then you're going to press it towards the eye section. Okay, I'm going to put my pin cushion on that, stop it from flipping open. I'm going to do the same with this one, rip out the seam sections. Ideally, when you are joining all the sections together, you should really technically use an iron, but not in this heat for me. As it is, my body hardly ever works in this heat, so. Okay, so this seam here, we're going to bring it up towards this section here, so the A section. And we're going to press that. Okay, and then we're just going to repeat this section onto this section here. Thank you very so much, whoever that was. That was a nice order. Thank you very so much. Um, all orders are nice, so thank you very so much. Even the support I get on this channel or on YouTube, every little bit helps, and you don't even have to buy anything. Right, okay, so you're going to sew from here to here on this last section. And there's only join this top section to that bottom section, then you are done. So I'm going to bring a poll up because we need to decide what we're doing next, which one we are doing next. So I've got a poll that's coming up now. Please can you select a theme? I've got two themes. I've actually got quite of all of them sorted, but I either don't mind doing either or of these. I'm in the mood to do them for the next 3 blocks. Okay. Eating themed. Oh no. Medication. Medication pouch. I like the medication one, but that's just me. Right, okay, let me just go to the overhead camera. I'm just going to keep that poll up for a little while, guys, so you guys can keep answering it. So if you're watching this back on YouTube later on, I just asked the question, what would you like to see on the free block next time? So there is the ouch theme, which is for poorly themed people, medication. So basically the idea is a medication pouch, if you're going to make it into the pencil case. I personally carry quite a lot of medication around with me, so I'm going to put all like I've got an EpiPen and some, yeah, that's being allergic to alcohol. You have to carry something around like that, and my general everyday tablets, or an eating themed one. So the eating themed one was basically if you are giving like a child some presents, an extra present for Christmas, like a stocking filler, to put some like sweets in it and stuff like that. So that was the other idea. So just keep answering those, and that question will disappear soon. Okay, so I'm just going to rip out the seam allowance on there. Let me see how that pull's doing while I'm on it. There you go. So we are on this pull. So medication one's winning at 83%. So it looks like we're going to do the Nina one. Wouldn't be big enough for the medication I carry around. Oh bless. No, I know my EpiPen just fits in at a squash. Okay, so I'm now going to press the up to the A5. Okay, and just give that a good press. Like I say, ideally you want to use an iron at this stage when you're joining all the patches together. And then let me just show the results. Okay, so we're going to pop this on the top, like so, and then your bat is complete. Whoop, whoop. The child, I say the child, our oldest. He goes, "You're doing a white background." Yeah, because bats are black. And he goes, "Well, no, you should do a a what do you call it? A black background and a white bat." And I said, "What? Is it albino then?" And he goes, "What?" Didn't even know what an albino was. So I had to explain and tell him that there's children, there's people out there that are albino. You get albino pets and stuff and animals. He was flabbergasted. So he said, "No, don't do a white bat because that can't be done. It's not fair." And I said, "Okay." I said it wouldn't look right anyway. So no, bless him. Oh, I did it last week. Just bear with me. come unthreaded at the bottom. There you go. If you start off too fast on this sewing machine, the bobbin just hides itself underneath. But once you've got started, you can actually go for it. It's just, for instance, that one. That initial start, it just doesn't like it. Just open up this. There you go. Okay, and that was the last seam sewed on the actual bat itself. Let's just get rid of those papers. And let me just take that pole off, close results, and go to dashboard. So it looks like I'm doing the medication one, that's fine. And the value block of that time will be something themed around that. I'm trying to keep it together, so it means that the you can interact with changing the blocks around if you want to at the top. Okay, peel this one off. Okay, so ideally you want to press this with an iron. So you're going to have it the H pointing up, and you're going to press that seam down to the bottom of the block on this last seam. And there you go. There is your block. You can go ahead and square it up. It's nice and finished. Obviously, you've got the papers attached. So whichever pattern that you are doing, whether you're doing the pencil case, you would peel all these papers out. So don't leave none of the papers in, and then just follow this pattern here. And the video that was from July. Or you can basically do the value block. So the value block for the first 24 hours is £1, and then it goes up to £2. Therefore, after that, and it stays at £2. So this ghost part, you can put the bat in if you want to, and just have the boo and then the borders around. That's totally up to you, and that's Boo the Friendly Ghost, and you'll find that on the actual website. This was the free block of the month, and that's Bat Out of Hell, and you'll find that on the website. That's RjAf.MAKES.com. Let me just go to the front view. So yeah, I'm hot and bothered, but no. But honestly, it's a simple and easy block. Let me know if you like the look of the block. And obviously, I'm going to get the Ouch themed sorted for next month. So I can't guarantee it be the same time next month. It might be the end of next month, but it will be out within next month. Don't forget you've got the Boo block, which is the value block on the website. That's RjAf.MAKES.com. It's only £1 until this time tomorrow. And then you've got this one to download for free, and they're both on the website. And don't forget, anybody that spends £5 or more on the website today and until Sunday will get 20% knocked off their order. So that's £5 or more. That's not including Fred's Gang or e-gift cards, but everything else, it's got 20% off as long as you spend £5 or more. Any questions? Love that. What size is the block? Right, so this one, the value block is, let me just open this up, 11 by 12 inches. This one, the bat, is 9.5, yeah, 9.5 by 6.5. If you're doing the case, the pouch, I do get you to trim down the block just a wee little bit, just so it fits. It's like 1/4 of an inch all the way around, I think it is. Let me just double check. Yeah, so it's yeah, 9.25 by 6.25 when you trim it down. So don't forget to trim it down, guys. But yeah, thanks ever so much for joining me today. And just let you know, we have spaces in Fred's Gang. Fred's Gang is an online sewing club. You get exclusive stuff, exclusive offers. You get the patterns first, well in months in advance. there is quite a lot of Fred's Gang commenting on here. Generally, it's a great. I've had people for the last 3 years, from year one all the way until now. So yeah, if you fancy having a look, if you go to the website, find Fred's Gang information. It's all underneath there. Thanks ever so much for joining me, and I can't wait to see you all soon. And any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. See ya.